Hey guys, welcome to Total Health Live with Dr. Sedano. I'm Dr. Nick Sedano, and once again, thank you so much for joining me today. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about life hacks. And you know what? A few years back, I didn't know what a life hack was or a health hack. I thought it was a bad thing because anytime you hacked into something, it was bad. But turns out there are certain things that we could be doing to improve the quality of our lives, and that's what it's all about today. Because as you know, our mission is to help you live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. So anything that I can do to pour valuable content into you, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing that. So I'm just going to check my phone here, guys. I just want to make sure that if there's any questions, I get them answered for you. There we go. All right, we're ready. So today is really all about mindful eating, and that is eating with intention. It's extremely important because it's important to make sure we get the proper nutrients in our body, but also too, there's a direct connection between a gut, the healthy gut, the stomach, and our brain. So it really helps us a lot just to function every single day at optimal levels. So I wanted to touch on this today because most of us, we know we don't eat well. We eat things like fast food, and I'm going to, slam McDonald's a little bit because I've got a Happy Meal in my office that a lot of my patients know about that's going on 10 years old this year. So September 11th of 2007 is when I bought it. So it's going to have its 10-year anniversary. So I'll probably bring it out for that so you guys can see it. But many times we eat fast food that's just, you know what, we should be eating good food fast maybe. But fast food is not even food anymore. It doesn't even have the same nutrients or the quality that it had 10 years ago. So it's really getting bad. Most of us gobble food down. You know who I'm talking about. You're eating on the run. You're just getting something quickly and running out the door, and you just choke it down, and then hopefully your body digests it properly. Or maybe, you know what, you just load the kids up in the minivan or the SUV, and you're off to one of the fast food places again, and you're just gobbling stuff down in the backseat of a car, heading off to some event. Maybe it's a kid's soccer match or a gymnastics meet. And believe me, I understand. I've got 5 kids myself, so I know all about what that's like. Or if you do make it to the dinner table, maybe you're like me. When I grew up as a kid, we had 3 brothers that were just hungry, and it was all just growl and grab. I mean, you were just grabbing anything you can get. In fact, sparks would be flying because if my mother put a plate of chicken cutlets on the table, and Mark and Michael, you know what I'm talking about if you're watching this, it was just growl and grab. It was just sparks because anybody that didn't get in there fast enough wasn't going to get enough chicken cutlets or whatever we were having. So this is just typically the way we do things. So I want to talk today about the importance of just slowing it all down and doing things a lot better so that way you get the most out of your food. At the same time, it really becomes a better experience. And if you've ever been over to Europe, and my family's all from Italy, you get to see what it's really like over there where they're sitting down and they take a large part of their day out for dinner. In fact, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever tried to get into an Italian restaurant, you can't even get into one until about 7:30 at night because they're still sitting down eating in the back themselves. So we walked in, I'll tell you, my wife and I walked into a restaurant in Parma, Italy, and we walked in and they looked at us like, what are you doing here? Go away. We're eating our dinner right now. You come back at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So we went to one of these local places where you can get the Parma prosciutto and the cheese and some bread. And we sat outside on the curb in a piazza. And in Italy, a piazza is a square where everybody typically hangs out. And so we went and sat in this piazza and just enjoyed ourselves. So we really had a good time, my wife and I did, before we got to dinner. But you start to really appreciate how the Italians can really do this. And a lot of cultures do this, where they really spend a lot of time eating and enjoying themselves. And I can't stand it when my kids, we get to the restaurant and they're trying to rush me home already. And it's like, Dad, we have things to do. Let's get out of here. I like to sit and enjoy myself. So today's going to be all about mindful eating and the importance of it. So let's dive into this. And once again, guys, if you like what we talk about, please share it out to people. I know there's friends of yours that need this information, so please like it, share it. That's the only way that we know we're giving you the quality content and giving you the value that you want. And also, too, if there's any information or any health struggles that you have, just let us know. I'd be more than happy to do a show on that, so please put that in the comment bar. But once again, please like and share. That way we know we're doing what's really that you're looking for, and we continue these shows. So anyway, let's dive on into it. So number one, and I could tell you that for the longest time, and sometimes I'm still guilty of this one, you start cooking and you've got a big event. I do really mainly all the cooking in my house. And so friends and family who know that know I go big. I do these big dinners. In fact, when people would come over, we'd be doing the antipasto and then the pasta and so on. And they're filling up on that. And I'm like, guys, we've got about another 5 courses to go yet. So pace yourself. So when they come to our house, we know we're going to be sitting around the dinner table. And my Italian friends out there, you know what I'm talking about. We're sitting around a dinner table for at least 3 hours. So don't go anywhere. We're going to go in courses and stages. And in fact, I've learned to space it out a little bit to give them a little bit of time to digest. But one thing I was always guilty of is I want to get this food out fast for everybody. I want to make sure that nobody's waiting. I want to make sure that it's all out on time. And I tend to cook, a la carte. I tend to cook as we need it. It's not things that you can make like in a casserole where you make it, hours in advance and you could put it under tin foil and sit in the oven. I'm making things as we go. So when I do a Christmas Eve dinner and we have 7 fish, and for my Italian friends, once again, you know what I mean with 7 fish on Christmas Eve, I'm making things literally on the fly. So I'm getting tense. I'm like, all right, let's get the food out to the table. You plate this, you get this out, you put this in a bowl. And what ends up happening is I'm not cooking with love a lot of times. I'm cooking with just for the sake of getting it out. So number one here is cook in a good mood. And I can tell you, like I said, I'm guilty of that myself, that a lot of times I'm trying to get the food out and I've had to learn to slow it down. But once again, too, I've also had more help in the kitchen. So with having more help, I could pace myself a little more, have a little red wine while I'm cooking, enjoy myself, have people around in the kitchen so that way we're talking in the kitchen rather than, kind of feeling like you're all alone and isolated. But once again, cook in a good mood because you know what? There's a lot to be said about the energy you're putting into the food. There was a study done many years ago where monks would chant and pray over water. And researchers would take this water and then crystallize it. In other words, put it into ice form and see what the water looked like. And when they had all these great thoughts and prayers and meditations, the crystals formed beautifully. But when they took the same water and there was anger involved and it was given to someone else to where they, were in the presence of this water and then that water was frozen, that water's crystals were a mess. So there is something to be said. Our bodies are 70% water. So with that said, cook in a good mood. Be happy, be cheerful, be joyful while you're cooking because you're putting your energy into that food. Number 2, feel the taste of the food. Enjoy the food. There's so many times that we don't even taste it. We're just gobbling it down so quickly that you're not even tasting the food. And there's a big, big connection with what we call the olfactory senses, which is your nose and your taste buds. So if you're gobbling food down, guys, you're not even tasting it. You're not officially even enjoying the food the way you could. So take the time, chew it. What did I say? Chew it 21 times. There's also something to be said about the connection, once again, between the gut and the mouth, in that when you chew slowly and more frequently, you give a better feeling of satiety or fullness. So when you gobble it down and get it down, your brain and your stomach don't even know that you ate anything, so you tend to stay hungry longer. You tend to eat more. So when you chew it slower, and I'm not saying, hey, if you don't have time to chew something 21 times, and believe me, I'm not telling anybody to sit there and, count it with a little counter. If you don't have time to do that, that's okay. But what you want to do is at least chew it slower. So that way your brain and your stomach are connected and know that you just ate something and give you the feeling of fullness. Over here, soft and relaxing music. Wow. There is so much research on what music does to the body. In fact, I think it's 528 hertz and I believe 432 hertz are healing frequencies. So when you play classical music at these certain frequencies, there's a healing effect on the body. So I like to meditate to those frequencies. I like to go to sleep to those frequencies. So that way I'm getting healing into my body when I'm not even consciously thinking about it, but in subconscious. So it's in the background as kind of white noise, but in a good way white noise, to where your body is picking up these frequencies and it's a healing frequency while you're eating. So try that out. 528 hertz or 432 hertz. Then you can go right on YouTube and just Google those. And it'll come up and you can actually just play that in the background. So, favorite foods last. Take some time. When you're eating your favorite foods first, many times you're not even thinking about the other stuff you're eating. You're just getting right to that one. So what I like to do sometimes is kind of savor it. Just eat your favorite food last on the plate. Eat the other ones in advance, and just kind of slowly get to that favorite one. So that way you have that great feeling of satisfaction at the end by having your favorite food last. Over here, no distractions. That's a big one in my house. Like I said, I've got 5 kids. So you can imagine if everybody had their cell phone sitting at the table, that's a no-go zone. We're not playing that. So when my kids sit down with their phones at the table, I'm like, get that phone off the table, or I start taking them. And I know a lot of you guys are doing that too, where either you go out to eat with your friends and nobody can bring their phones, or you stack the phones up on the table so that way nobody can sit there and be checking out their phone. And the first person who picks up their phone, you get to pay the bill. So you get to pick up the tab. So maybe you should try that with your friends when you go out to restaurants. Stack up the phones on the table, and everybody gets to look at their phones, but nobody gets to touch them. All right? And I'll tell you what, or just better yet, leave them in the car and enjoy that time with your friends. I always laugh. And you guys can relate to this. If this is you guys, give it a thumbs up. Many times I'm watching my kids, and I've got 4 daughters. And you know why I shaved my head early. No, I love my daughters, guys. I would never change a thing in the world for them. I adore them. But with my 5 kids, many times they're all sitting around with their friends or each other, and they're on their phones, and nobody's even talking to each other. You know what I'm talking about, right? Give it a thumbs up if you know what I mean. So nobody's talking to each other, so there's just too many distractions. So you know what? Unplug. Get the phones off the table. Just talk to each other. Talk about how each other's day went. Talk about the good things. Or talk about what you appreciate about each other. How many times do you hear that? Usually, I've got 2 kids that love to just go at each other. So with the 4 daughters, I've got 2 that are a little older and 2 that are a little bit younger. And so they tend to group together. But the ones here, they don't get along too well. And you know what I mean? You might have kids like that too. So, let's talk to each other at the table and enjoy each other's company. Maybe talk about what you like about each other rather than, oh, she took my clothes today, or she wore my shoes without my permission. And, we hear that all the time. So at the dinner table, it's a great time to talk about victories for the day, a great time to talk about what went great for the day, not complaints, but what went great, and talk about what you appreciate about each other, okay? Sit at the table. I can't tell you how many times I have my kids tell me that their friends don't sit at the table. Nobody's, around discussing things. And that's really the only time that you get to talk to each other a lot of times, because in the morning you're all getting out the door. I've got kids in high school, middle school, and elementary. They're all getting out the door at different times, so they're waking up at different times. Then it's a scramble to get out. So if you guys can sit down at actually a table that's set, and that's a big thing too, you don't just want to plop down, just set the table. It doesn't mean you need to put a tablecloth on it and china and crystal. But set the table so that you've got some placemats, maybe some, not paper plates, but some nice plates, forks, spoons, knives, a napkin, and just sit there at a set table rather than just plopping at the table with everybody's plate as they eat it, almost like as a buffet. All right, don't do that. Set the table, sit there and talk to each other. Once again, my kids tell me all the times about their friends, and I hope I'm not offending any of them who may be watching right now. But many times their friends don't sit at the table. Who's up in their room eating? Who's in the basement eating? Who's in front of the TV in the family room eating? Who's in the den eating? And they're not even in the same rooms together. And that's not good. You all want to be together as family. It's the only time, like I said, you get to bond together. Also, too, this is a big one, guys. Honor your body. The body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Now, whether you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. But understand the fact that the body is sacred. Honor your body. God said, honor your body. That is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And so that we should take good care of it. So once again, whether it be through exercise or meditation or prayer, but with foods, put good foods in your body. Don't put bad foods in your body. It's amazing to me how we would never give, think about this, you would never give your cat Doritos. You would never give it, a bowl full of Coca-Cola. You'd never give it, chips and salsa and all these other things that we eat. In fact, if you did that and somebody found out about it, they might come to your house and call, Animal Protection Services, and you might have your animal removed from the house. And you say, well, yeah, they can't be drinking that Coke. That's for the kids. So think about that, guys. Put food in your body that your body then builds healthy tissue with. Instead, we're putting junk in our bodies and expending our bodies to then build healthy mind, healthy cells, healthy heart cells and liver cells and spleen cells. You know what? It's amazing that our bodies can do that, that can take the junk we put in and actually somehow pull some nutrients out and build a body. But remember, your body's a temple. Honor it. Honor it the way God said we should, and put good fuel in it. You would never think of putting junk fuel in a Ferrari, because if you did, the Ferrari would run like garbage. And then you'd sit there and say, what's going on with this car? It's running like garbage. I thought Ferraris were good cars. When in reality, they are. But when you put junk fuel in it, it doesn't run. So it will never get to its peak performance level, and neither will you or your family. Drink more water. Now, I will tell you, and I learned this as a young child, my grandfather from Italy always said, hey, Nicky, don't drink any fluids with your dinner, because he knew back then, and this is going back 50 years, he knew back then that you dilute your stomach acids. So I'm not telling you to drink so much water while you're eating, although you can sip it a little bit. But what I am saying is this: drink water before and after. Don't have it with the actual meal, but do drink water before or after the meal, but give it some time. Give the body some time to start the digestive process, so that way you have full stomach acid to start digesting your meal. Otherwise, you're going to get incomplete digestion. You're going to get heartburn. You might get, bloating. So drink more water, but once again, the timing of the water is important. It's either before dinner or after. Give yourself about a half an hour after or half an hour before, and increase your water. And also, too, don't rush. Once again, we talked about that. In Italy, it's almost sacred when you sit down and eat. You want to enjoy your meal. You want to talk. You want to socialize. Italians will take about 3 hours to eat a meal. Now, I know a lot of us don't have that kind of time, but you could at least take an hour or 45 minutes. But how many times do we sit down and it's, all right, I got to go. I got an appointment to get to, and I'm out the door, and oh, so-and-so's boyfriend's taking me somewhere. And next thing you know, the table's like, it's gone again. You sit down, it's almost like vultures. They gobble everything up and they're gone. Take some time. Enjoy your time with your family. Even if it's, like I said, 30 minutes, talk, slow it down. When you're just eating so quickly, you will have incomplete digestion. And that's one of the reasons why you'll then get heartburn, or as my dad used to say, agita, if you're growing up in New York. So slow it down, enjoy your time, talk to your family, and don't rush. Like I said, you don't have to take 3 hours, but take a little bit more time. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this information. I hope it was beneficial to you, and you got a lot of good health tips. Once again, my purpose and my mission is always to pour into you great content, great information to help you live longer, healthier, and more abundant lives. And guys, if you like the information, please like it, but more importantly, love it. Okay? Love it on Facebook. Comment in, let me know what you think we could be doing better. If there's something you don't like that we're doing, let us know. I don't care. I'm all for feedback. I've got a tough skin. I'm from New York. I can handle things. But also, too, please share it. If this information you feel is valuable and other people can benefit from it, help save, change, and transform their lives by sharing it with them. And once again, guys, thank you for your comments. I appreciate your support. And I will look forward to seeing you next time on Total Health Live with Dr. Sedano. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.